Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a different type of video today. Guys, I'm awake so early. I don't know about you guys, but I've just been having trouble sleeping throughout a whole night. Like, honestly, I go to sleep and I wake up so early, and then I have to go to sleep again. Like, I don't know. Like, I wake up and I'm just like, I'm good to go. I don't know if it's because I feel weird every single day. I don't know how to explain it to you guys. I don't know if this is like a new phenomenon. Like, I wasn't like this before, and then I had this conversation with Nick, and he's like, yeah, bro, like I wake up in the middle of the night now. I don't fully sleep anymore. And ever since he said that, right, like 2 or 3 days later, I do it all the time now. I don't know. Anyways, we have a Reddit post about me in regards to the player reviews. Guys, normally I don't respond to these types of things because at the end of the day, I'm fully comfortable with how I create my content. I understand that as a content creator, that not every single person is going to agree with how I do things, right? And that's completely fine. That's part of the gig, you know what I'm saying? But I'm going to respond to this one because there's a few misconceptions about a few things, and then there's a few that he's on the money of, but I have like thoughts towards it, right? So we're going to respond to it. I had a mod that sent me this, and I even told him, like, brother, like, don't send me these things, like, because I've gotten these guys from doing player reviews. I've gotten these types of posts all the time over the years, on the forum posts, on the Reddit posts. I used to get a lot of forum and Reddit posts when I used to talk about like inconsistent gameplay, which I still talk about nowadays, and people used to actually call me crazy back in the day. Like, I remember it super well, that this was like a pretty consistent thing. You guys actually might be able to search it back in the day, where there's actually a forum post where a guy was like, I think he called me like a nuisance to the community because I used to talk about it so much. And then I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks after, he apologized and went back on it and said, like, I'm not even joking when I say this. If you guys search for it, I'm telling you, you'd probably be able to find it. Okay. Sorry if I'm stuttering. Like I said, I've been barely sleeping. That's why I've been stuttering recently in my YouTube videos. I don't know, right? Okay, so we're gonna be checking out this video. So again, there's a lot of misconceptions with how people perceive my content, okay? So I usually read a lot of flipping comments before I try out a card, just to get a general idea of a card's capabilities. But since it's a bit of a toxic fest over there, I tried something different to get a better grasp on some cards. I tried watching a few of Inception's reviews. And let me tell you, this guy overcomplicates everything. Tries to make FIFA sound like science when it's really not that in-depth. Talks about and I'm a FIFA guy, and I never know it. NIF, I guess normal stats affecting promo cards and yada yada yada. Oh, he has 90 shooting, but his regular gold has 80, so this won't feel like a 90 stuff of the sort. For a few cards, not all of them, but for a few of them. Sometimes so what he's talking about is like when I mentioned how a player's base characteristics are being transferred over to an upgraded version of a card. This I do believe in for a lot of the cards, but that's why we actually try out the card in game, because sometimes they surprise me, right? Yeah. It's a 90 shooting, but mostly I feel like he's very preconditioned on what cards are popular already when he comments on them in his review. Preconditioned in a sense where I have a very good idea of what a card is going to be like before using them. Yes, to be honest with you, it does happen a very large majority of the time. There's very few times where a card, from my experience playing FIFA, surprises me, right? There's very few times. I'll give you some examples, right? Foot Birthday of Villa is probably the biggest example, right? When I reviewed that card, I did not expect him to be that good. Like, yes, he's a 5-star player, right? But I did not expect him to be as good as he was when I used him. He was honestly way better than I thought, right? But that's why we tried him out in game, to get that assumption. Another very good example, and as you guys know, is Flashback Benzema, right? Flashback Benzema, I was like, oh, you know, it's cool that he has a high-low work rate, but I'm probably gonna have to work with his dribbling, which is something that you hear a lot for the player reviews. And he has the best, in my opinion, he has the best attacking AI in the game. Even right now, I still think his attacking AI is the best. And then Mbappe is behind him. But obviously, Mbappe is a better player in general because he's good at everything else. Whereas Benzema, you have to work with dribbling and passing and all that kind of stuff, right? But let's continue. Let's say he's reviewing Icon Wins Van Persie. This is a good one, actually. If he takes a bad touch, it's because he's too tall. His dribbling's a bit slow, so you'll have to work with these touches. If it's R9 taking a bad touch, it's more along the lines of, oh, bad luck, I should have let go of sprint there. R9. I don't know if I reviewed R9 this year. Did I review R9 this year? I think he's just giving an example, but yeah, I never reviewed R9 this year. But yeah, it's like meta cards in his mind are not criticizable. Obviously, Van Persie does have some stiff dribbling, but it was just an example. I feel like if a card is not considered meta, as in pro players don't have them in their squads, he'll review it as not really meta and be a bit too harsh on its shortcomings, as well as not credit their qualities enough. If it's a meta card, he'll do the opposite and really overhype them, almost making them look perfect. I should add he tries cards for 5 games, which is nothing. This part I completely disagree on. Like, I don't know, like, dude, especially for the formations that I try, right? Like, I use the 3-5-2, 3-4-1-2 because I have to play aggressive FIFA, because honestly, like, I think this game's horrible. I think the gameplay is like horrible from top to bottom. There's very few redeeming qualities, right? But this part I don't agree with, man. The 20 games part, like, I know that some of you guys are very adamant on this, but there has never been a card where I have tried him for 5 games, and then after the 5 games, a card has grown on me, or I got used to him way more, right? That's the whole point of me doing the player reviews, is testing out specific things and looking without playing normal FIFA, right? I'm looking at what the card offers. Like, dude, sometimes I'm just slowing down and I'm looking at what they do to tell you guys, like, this is a good thing or this is a bad thing, right? A very good example of this is if you guys watch the Samuel Eto'o review, right? Because he has his work rates, which allows him to move across the pitch really quickly, right? It's usually the high lows and the high mediums for the most part, right? Some of the stuff was like really, really noticeable when he was making certain runs and whatever. Like, this is just stuff that, like, I'm looking at and doesn't change after I use them for a fair amount of time. You know what I'm saying? The shooting is one thing I'm definitely going to talk about afterwards, but yeah, so he'll do the opposite. It took me 20 games to at least adjust to a prime Hullets playstyle. See, this one is an interesting one to me. So at the end of the day, guys, everyone has their own, like, FIFA experience. Like, every time they experience FIFA, it's always gonna be different for everybody, right? But I can't imagine how you would need 20 games to adjust to a Hullet. But he's not a bad player, because I think he said he's like around 2000, yeah, 2000-ish skill rating, right? He's not a bad player, but 20 games for Hullet is a little strange for me. If you play in the elite division is like the best to try out midfielders, right? Because for me, I use them in that 3-5-2, 3-4-1-2. So it's so easy for you to see what they're like attacking and defending. Some cards are very weird, right? But they're still good to use for the meta. For instance, like a Guendouzi, like I use him in my team right now, and I still think he's a massive weirdo, right? Because, and I'm actually going to turn on my console just to show you guys like a few things like on the actual game and whatnot. But yeah, sometimes I use Guendouzi. Even in the review, I was like, yeah, this card's a weirdo, right? And he still is a weirdo for me, like when I use him on my main team, but like he still fits the meta because he's a tall player, high work rates. Like high work rates by default, like most of the times you're like good to go, right? And cards never really surprise me with that. Sometimes they're like not that crazy, but yeah. Yeah, some you can throw them all in the same spot and hope for similar outcomes. To sum it up, if you rely on his reviews to decide on the players you use, you're missing out on some real gems by going with his opinion. He's extremely preconditioned to whether a player is already popular or not among the high-ranking players. I'm only a 2000-ish skill rating player, but I believe so is he. I'm not saying I'm a leading authority on the subject, but I'd imagine our skill levels are at least in the same ballpark. And after checking quite a few of his videos, mostly the final 2 minutes where he gives his verdict, some of the players he classed as meh, I've tried myself at some point in the game cycle, and although some of them were in fact, as he stated, not impressive, a lot of them were extremely prolific, productive, as opposed to what he made them out to be. Just my 2 cents, guys. I know it's a large body of text, but just wanted to share what I think is often a misleading resource that's become quite popular amongst the community. I like this post. I'm going to be honest with you. I like this post a lot because I like when someone is constructive towards me, but gives their reasons as to why they're constructive towards me. By the way, look at my beard. Look, this looks horrible. This beard over here on this side does not grow the same as this one. Look, this one is just very nice. This one though, look, what is this? What is this? This half circle. Anyways, I swear it's not me shaving it. But yeah, these types of posts I do like, to be honest. Like, they're very constructive in their own ways. Here's the thing that I'm going to say, okay? So when it comes to review content on my channel, right? First of all, let's put this right out there, okay? review content is opinionated based, right? So the fact that it is opinionated based is always going to have someone that doesn't like what you do. For instance, like I always tell people that, you know, a person like Danny Aarons, right, with the type of content that he creates, I think personally that it is impossible to hate him. I think that if you hate him, it's because you are looking to hate him, because the content that he creates is not based off of giving you information, it's based off of entertaining you, right? So when someone's content is based off of entertaining you and not necessarily giving you information, it's really hard to hate that person, right? Especially Danny Aarons, because his content is amazing, right? But when it comes to player reviews, there's always going to be people that disagree with what you say. There's some players that people use that are like absolutely club legends for them, and for other people he won't be, right? So an example of why I'm saying this is because, you know, I'll give you guys an example, right? So Koza, right? A lot of my defender reviews, I was always comparing to Koza's agility. And this is my fault for doing this, right? Because I think when people hear me say certain things, they base it off of that one thing. So it's really good that this guy used Van Persie as an example. Guys, when I do a player review, the whole point of me doing a player review is to tell you the goods and the bads of a card, even if it's obvious, okay? For instance, you guys know that Flashback Benzema is one of my favorite cards this year. But guys, at the end of the day, with Benzema's card, right, if we take a look at him, Benzema's card, oh my god, I can't even spell him because I'm stupid. Karim Benzema's card, right, this one right here. Karim Benzema's card, high-low work rates, look at his dribbling, look at his body type, right? This is one of my favorite cards this year. But you still have to work with this dribbling. In the player review, I'm going to tell you that you have to work with the dribbling, because that's the point of the player review. I have to tell you whether a card's dribbling is responsive or not, right? Because some cards will surprise you. For instance, right, average body type usually is really chalked when it comes to dribbling in this game. However, this bad boy right here, right? This bad boy right here, who's in the low 90s area for dribbling. Trust me, I've tried out cards that have average body type in like this area and they just don't move as well, right? And I guess it's because it works well with him with the engine chemistry style, 5-star, 5-star. But anyways, this card, man, on an engine, oh. But guess what? Before the game started, I did have, like you're mentioning, I did have this predisposed thought, like, I'm probably not gonna like this card that much. Like 5-star, 5-star is gonna be a thing that's gonna really not overcomplicate. It's gonna make him way better, right? Because the fact that he's 5-star, 5-star is already it's overcompensating, right? It's overcompensating a lot because of that 5-star, 5-star. Amazing, right? But no, it was more than the 5-star, 5-star. Like his high work rates was awesome. His shooting, even in the low 90s, guys, low 90s, okay, was incredible. Okay, low 90s, guys. I'm telling you, I take certain shots, and I do have that predisposed thought, because it's using cards that have, like, dude, usually when I see the card shooting, I'm like, oh, 91, yeah, there's this type of shots can be very inconsistent, right? So I'll try it, and it's usually the case. This card is different though, man. I gave him an engine chemistry. I was taking shots, and I was like, I don't know what's happening right now, right? And you know what was good about me doing this review is that a lot of people that actually ended up checking out this card thought the same thing. They're like, yo, this card's really good. I think Boris actually still used this card in his team, right? So yeah. So guys, my player reviews are based off of what this guy is saying. So at the end of the day, he's a 2000 skill rating player, so he's decent. Guys, I'm gonna explain something, okay? The skill rating that I'm at is very irrelevant because I do not actively play FIFA to get a higher skill rating like a regular person would, okay? My focus is to create content, all right? My skill rating on my main account, or when I use another person's account, like, okay, I'll give you guys a very good example, right? So the Johan Cruyff card, right? So skill rating in the Elite Division nowadays, like, you can climb, I would say personally, easily compared to before, because there's a lot of people in the Elite Division. A lot of people, they say, oh, I'm in the Elite Division, like it's some sort of like crazy thing nowadays. It's a good achievement, guys. I'm not saying that it's not, right? But you have a system in place for FIFA where if you play the game a lot, you will get to the Elite Division eventually, right? Some people who say they're in the Elite Division, they'll be in like 1750, 1600, 1650, whatever, right? At some point, the system in the Elite Division is to get you to the Elite Division, right? Because I'm pretty sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure if you win 2 games in a row and lose 1, you could still get to the elite division as long as you play consistently. That's usually how that works, right? The elite division, guys, right? If I show you like an example of like a game where this is me being serious, I'm very, very rarely serious when playing this game, right? But when I had to do Johan Cruyff, I had to be a little bit more serious because I'm using somebody else's account. So skill rating part, I have to kind of not lose for them, right? Because it matters to a few people, right? With Johan Cruyff, I faced a team like this. Let me see if I can actually find it. And it's good that I make these types of videos because it's people need or require proof of or validity to be valid when it comes to like creating this type of content, right? So this is one of the teams that I came up against. This guy was in like, I think he was like 1888 or 1900 skill rating, but this is a pretty ridiculous team, right? The team that I was using was this team right here, which to be fair is still pretty good for what it is, but obviously like it's pretty good for what it is. It's a good team, right? It's not a bad team by any means. But obviously in comparison to that guy's team, nothing too crazy. We ended up being this guy, I think 5-0, right? Was it 5-0? I do so many reviews that I honestly don't even remember. Yeah, I think it was 5-0 and then he quit in the 29th minute. Yeah, ended up quitting in the 29th minute. Look, I'll even show you skill rating wise. I'm only showing this because people require this, right? So it's good that I make these types of videos. Oh, here it is. So he was like in 1876. And then my boy is like, we were playing games, so obviously it went up, right, in 1956. So the skill rating thing, if I took the game seriously, I think that I would be higher, right? But I just don't care to be higher because that's not my focus. Me being in a higher SR for division rivals is not important for the content that I create, okay? So, as I was mentioning, like with the Icon Moments Van Persie card, guys, and this is me saying it to this guy, okay? I am literally the guy who promotes the use of different players as much as possible in the community. I'm the guy that does it and has been doing it for years. People literally, the meme of sentimental value FC comes from me, okay? It doesn't come from anybody else. That's where sentimental value FC comes from, okay? What you're saying about the Van Persie card, I liked using Van Persie. I didn't dislike using Van Persie, right? But I'm still gonna say that you have to work with his dribbling because guess what? Let me show you guys something, okay? The reason why I have to mention the dribbling, guys, is because it's very important for how this game plays out. Because this is what you face all the time, right? So in the FIFA gameplay, I'm going to make a separate video for the FIFA gameplay in the future at some points because I hate this game with the deepest passion, okay? The gameplay, because just this alone is one of the main reasons, right? This is after the patch, by the way, okay? So here's the problem, okay? The reason why I have to mention that you have to work with dribbling is because if someone is using this type of tactic, right? You need to be able to left stick dribble and shot cancel very quickly to get past this. If your players show any sort of emphasis on the ball, it'll slow you down from scoring your opportunities. The only way that you will be able to score with these types of cards is first time opportunities. If you guys want an example of this, please go check out my Pavel Nedved video. I actually laugh in the video at some point, like I would say like maybe like 10 minutes into it or something, or like 8 minutes into it. I laugh because I'm laughing at the meta of the game, right? And you're going to see the goals that I score with Nedved. I can't settle a touch with him, right? With his agility and balance, I cannot settle a touch with him because if I do, I will not score because defensive AI will be on top of you very, very quickly, right? So you have to, sometimes you just have to bank on just doing a first time shot. But guess what? Most of the physical type strikers in the game, if you go for a first time strike, they're going to score because you're working that high percentage angle as much as possible, okay? This is what, this right here that I'm showing you guys, this right here is what you face all the time in the Elite Division. All the time. And if you have a really crazy meta squad, they do this even more, okay? And sometimes, guys, this is not the person's fault. This is because the next gen version of this game, they will never fix, okay? Because it is predisposed. Am I using the right word? I don't think I am, right? But the players by default, it doesn't matter how aggressive your tactics are, by default, they go park the bus, okay? So that's why I have to, from me to you, and you don't have to agree with this, but I have to tell you that you have to work with the dribbling. You know who's dribbling I have to work with? Flashback Benzema. But at least his attacking AI is good enough that when I do get into the position, I could take that first time strike. I need quickness for attacking AI for me to score. What's the other two ways of scoring, guys? The other two ways of scoring is one lob pass, one through ball. There is very rarely an opportunity where someone actually breaks down your defense. The only way that you break down a person's defense in this game is those two different types of passes, right? And the other way is that you see how these players are pushed up against the defenders. This is the meta of the game. You have to do this, right, to score your opportunities, to push them as far back as possible to score. Because if you don't, your players, guys, I have a Discord, right, where it's filled with a bunch of competitive and pro players. And I went into the Discord because you guys know me, I like to try out different stuff. I went into the Discord and I told them, guys, do you guys have any tactics where you don't use direct passing? And one of the competitive players literally told me, we're all direct passing merchants. That's what he said. Because the game is horrible. And if you use balanced tactics, right? Balanced tactics, they don't have in this game like a really good authentic feel of football movement, because this is what's always gonna happen. It's always gonna be park the bus. So you can't experience this new attacking AI thing that they want to introduce because you genuinely can't. You guys get what I'm saying? Like you just can't, because this is what's going to happen every time. So what's the attacking plays you have to hope for? You have to hope for, and I talk about this all the time in the tactics video, you have to hope for the push forward, come back, push forward, come back. You see how they're pushing forward? You have to hope for small little dribbles. They'll just control these two guys here the whole entire time, right? You have to hope for this guy to push forward, come back, and then for the same to these two to come back as well, for you to go for a first time opportunity. That's the meta of this game, and that's why I don't play it seriously, because it's horrible, okay? But just because I think the meta is horrible or I think the game is horrible doesn't mean that I myself am not decent at the game. But here's another thing, right? I feel like I cannot operate in this game without playing a 3-back formation, which is a really good formation to test out players. I can't operate without a 3-back formation because the game is boring for every other formation. 4-2-2 is boring. 4-3-2-1 is boring. 4-1-2 is actually pretty good because of the glitch of the cam, right? Because like, dude, I can't even, guys, I used to play drafts all the time back in the day, and I can't even do drafts anymore because it is actually so boring to play. Because one, the dribbling in this game is absolutely horrible. So when I can't give players a finisher chemistry style or an engine chemistry style, for me personally, it's chalked because I hate the dribbling with a passion, right? This guy over here, this picture, I had the attacking AI there. Oh my God, you know, they're seeing this. This guy right here looks like a finesse shot to the top right bins is needed there. This guy said that, right? I don't remember which review this is. I can't remember exactly which one. If I could see, it's this guy here. So I was using Quaresma. I think that might be Jelson. It's this guy right here, whoever the heck this is right here, right? Guys, what do you think I'm doing over here? This is a finesse shot. I hate when people say just shoot when the AI is this overpowered, okay? The AI is gonna block this out. How do you, there's no way you genuinely think I can finesse shot here. You can't finesse shot this. And then I have another guy, let's see. Let me see. There was another guy here. The owners of FIFA style complaining because rest of players don't play what they consider is enjoyable. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying, guys? Like those ones, like that blows my mind to read. What I redeem as like a fun play style. No. Understand something very quickly. The FIFA community, when they play this game, they will do everything in their power to win a game and sacrifice experience for the win. The only people that I play against in this game are people who use direct passing that only plays that one play style of pushing against the defenders and doing extra passes, which is what I do all the time because it's what you have to do. That's one of the play styles. The other play style is to do this and to just do a through ball or a law pass counter, do one pass to score your opportunity, okay? And the other one is just parking the bus entirely and not doing anything. Oh, no. The other play style is pressure tactics. Guys, the working with dribbling part, I have to mention it to you because if someone activates a pressure tactic in this game, you cannot move. You already cannot move when the gameplay, for the most part, feels horrible dribbling wise, okay? Because it does. You already can't move. But when someone activates a pressure tactic and composure is being taken into consideration, they are even worse, okay? They're worse. So when I do the player reviews, guys, I'm gonna always mention all of the goods and the bads of a card because I have to. If you watch the Ben Yedder review of the Foot Captains, the thing that you're gonna hear me talk about all the time is that when you use cards like that, it is a lack of restriction, right? There's no restriction when you use those types of cards because even if a person uses pressure tactics, which is still very overpowered and it still affects the card, of course, but it does not affect them as much. So it allows you to play the video game like a normal person, okay? Like a normal person. You can't do that consistently with anybody who is a physical type player, okay? You guys know, like this is me just saying it from like a lower point of view. I think that the gameplay is horrible from top to bottom, and I'm gonna make a video about it at some point in the future. But I just have to like mention this. I'm not against this guy and what he said on the Reddit. I disagree about the 20 games thing. I like there's never been a card that has impressed me over time. Never. A card is either gonna blow my mind, not blow my mind, or be usable in the meta of the game, right? For instance, I get this a lot for the icon swap reviews, right? For the icon moment cards, right? So cards that like I'm not like crazy about, but they're still going to perform okay in the meta of the game is like George Best and Roberto Carlos, right? But Kenny Dalglish was pretty decent. Samuel Eto'o was pretty decent. Those cards are pretty decent, guys. But the variable is that it's an icon swap. So the thing that I kept telling people is that I don't think it's worth putting the swaps into these individual players because at some point they will release SBCs that will be better than these players if you can fit them in the team. And the reason why I say this to people all the time is because this guy is mentioning how I don't look at the redeeming qualities of certain cards, right? Okay, here's the problem with this, right? When you say this, I never see you guys in this game, okay? Let's put that out there right now. I really have to mention this. I never see these types of players in this game. Whenever I do tactic videos, right, that you guys watch and I'm doing in the Elite Division, right, I always tell you guys all the time that like when I see a unique team, I'm surprised. I'm literally shocked. I'm like, wow, you don't see that often. You know why people don't use those teams? Because at the end of the day, meta in this year's game, it doesn't necessarily mean these are the best players. Meta for me this year means these are the cards that are not going to restrict you from playing a video game. That's what it actually means. Do you know how frustrating it is for your gameplay to feel horrible and then you're using a physical type striker that can't dribble? Dude, I have clips on my flashback Benzema on my dude, I gotta show you guys now because it's gonna drive me. I have to show you this, right? And because this is something that it's very, very important to mention. Documents. Let's see. I have so many clips here. Horrible game. Is it this one? Oh, dude, I have so many clips that I'm gonna be putting out. Horrible game. So it's this one. So this is like a delay thing, right? So if I show you this part right here, so when I'm tapping the R1, it's because I'm using second man press, right? This is just an example. So I'm using second man press in this area right here. So you can see that I'm pressing R1, but before I receive the ball. Before I receive the ball, I pressed R1, and this part still registers. And I get really pissed. I can already hear it in my headphones. I get really irritated, right? And that's why I don't do the streams for this game. I get really irritated. But that's just like one of the examples, right? Let's see another one. I want to see the flashback Benzema one. Oh, this one. So the registration is off for this one because I shoot the ball and it doesn't even register me shooting the ball. He controls it. Look. It's a red timed. It's a red timed because of the registration between both of the players here. Look at this. He doesn't, if it's a red time, he would still shoot the ball, guys. You guys get what I'm saying? But this is when the gameplay feels horrible for the most part. I'm really trying to find this one. Oh, this is another one. Right? And I can feel it, guys. I'm not an idiot, right? And people are like, oh, but you still press the button. Okay. I still press the button, correct? Fine. I get into this position. I think this is pretty obvious, right? Driven pass to this guy right here. He's right in front of me. I know when the registration is off. No one can convince me otherwise. There's no chance, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's another example. I get really irritated because what does he do, right? What does he do right after all of that happens, right? What does he do after all that happens? He gets this randomness right here. I don't even know what happened. He gets the ball back. My center back, right? My center back goes this way. Creates the space in the middle. Messi scores the opportunity from one pass. From one pass, okay? But they didn't let me score that opportunity. Another one. Horrible game clip. I really hope this is the Benzema one. I can't find the Benzema one for some reason. This is just, that one's just poor registration too. I really hope that I have this clip because I need to show you guys this. Guys, in this video, I'm not gonna say that I found it, but I did find it. I actually went back. I literally went back and I'm down to render this whole video just so that I can show you guys this clip, okay? Because I found it, okay? In the video, I'm gonna say that I didn't, but I did find it, okay? So this one is stupid pressure tactic clip, right? So let me see what this one is. Oh, this one. This is the one that's, ooh, this one is the one, boys. Look at the radar, guys. Look at the radar, okay? Do you guys see that radar? There is not one person that I can make a normal pass to. And here's the problem, okay? When this happens, when this type of stuff happens, this game becomes completely unplayable. I am willing to leave the game and turn off my console, okay? I'm gonna tell you why. First of all, if your gameplay feels bad, which it does most of the times, right? Let's say, for instance, I were to make this pass, or I press R1, or I press L1 to make a run or tell them to come short. Here's what happens. Because they are applying pressure to my player, composure is taken into consideration. So what happens is that they will do a huge emphasis touch, okay? So my solution here with Kimpembe, the only thing I can genuinely do is just kick this ball out, guys. I have to kick this ball to this guy at the bottom right here and hope that, you know, something comes of it, right? I'm gonna mute myself because I get really upset at these types of things. So over here, you know, I could have made the pass to this player right here, right? At the end of the day. So right here, I could have done a pass here, right? But guess what, guys? That player, if I were to make this pass, would just snatch the ball anyways. There's nobody I can pass this ball to, and you guys are gonna say pass it to your goalkeeper. Okay, when I pass it to my goalkeeper, this tactic is still gonna happen. And the only solution I'm gonna have is to kick the ball out. When you restrict me from playing the game normally, I don't wanna play your game anymore. Because this defending is not skilled. This is overpowered like crazy. This is their solution to people wasting time because this is their hot fix for the normal players of this game. This is horrible, okay? So that's the pressure tactic. That's one of the things that annoys me like crazy. You guys have no idea, but it's the Benzema one that I hope is this one. I hope to God it's this one. Let me see documents. This game sucks clip. Is it this one? I'm on the right side. Yes, I found it. Okay, watch Benzema here. First of all, right, I'm gonna take off my face cam just so that you can see my reaction because this is not expected. This happens when the gameplay feels horrible. Okay. Look at this. Right? That run, you could see me doing the run. Guys, I'm very familiar with the running animations. I'm very familiar with it. I know when it feels horrible. This one was crazy emphasized, right? I'm going to show you why. Okay, so this happens, right? Blah, blah, blah. And I know, guys, you guys are going to see, oh, but you press this. FIFA is not a logical game, okay? It's not. When people apply logic to a game that is not logical, it's so irritating, okay? Because look, I get this ball back at some point here. It's this one, bro. I know when the game feels off. I need you guys to trust me when I tell you, okay? But look at this one. You guys see what I'm saying, dude? Do you guys see what I'm saying, bro? Look at my face. Look at my face, guys. I'm just like, look at the command that I'm doing with the controller, right? Because you guys are like, oh, but you did this with the controller. Look at the command I'm doing with the controller. Can you tell me why when the ball is here, I can't just dribble this ball? You want to know why I can't dribble the ball? Because the game feels horrible. And when he has an average body type and he does not have high 90s for dribbling stats with a Ben Yedder body type, he's going to do that, guys. So guess what? In the review, I'm going to tell you, yes, he has to work with the dribbling. Okay? So yeah, this video is going to continue. It's going to say that I didn't find this clip, but I did find the clip. So there you go. I guess I didn't get it. Wow. So what it was is like this, it was just like this really poor registration with Benzema, because when the game plays horrible and you have that average body type, your players just do this like crazy dribbling thing that just like irritates me a whole lot. But yeah, I can't even find it right now. But yeah, I just wanted to make the video to talk about this, because I mentioned the things that I mentioned because I have to. And if a card does surprise me in game, then I'll mention that he surprises me. But most of the cards do perform the way that I expect them to perform for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just usually the case. But the whole thing where I don't use cards because they're not full meta, that's nonsense, because people on this channel know that I use cards that are not full meta all the time. I literally promote it as much as possible. But when I do the player reviews, my job is to tell a person the goods and the bads of a card. Just because I think a card has certain bads does not mean I will not use him, okay? Just because I think that Flashback Benzema's dribbling is not that great because of his average body type and high 80s for certain dribbling stats does not mean I won't use him, because his redeeming quality is the high-low work rate. Just like with Van Persie, redeeming quality is the high-low work rate, outside foot shot trait. But I'm still going to mention the dribbling because I have to mention the dribbling. Obviously, the dribbling is most likely going to be bad for the card, but it could surprise me in game and be significantly better, okay? I promote the use of cards that are not meta as much as possible. So that part, he doesn't watch my content enough for that one, right? Because you guys know that I try to do that as much as possible. Like I said, the job is to tell you guys the goods and the bads of a card as much as possible, okay? I'm not against this Reddit post. I don't need you guys to go to it and be negative towards it, because this guy was constructive and he wasn't negative, okay? So I appreciate the constructive feedback regardless, because most of the times people send me this type of stuff, forums and Reddit, it's usually pretty negative, right? Just, you know what I'm saying? So whoever did this post, I appreciate you, man. The constructive criticism, part of the job, I love it. I don't agree with some of your points, but that's life. You know, people are not going to always agree with everything you say, just like you don't agree with how I do my content. And that's perfectly fine. That's life, right? But, I mean, thanks for taking the time to write a huge post like this. At the end of the day, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it because it was constructive. You didn't write like a complete hate post. Does that make sense? So, yeah, I'll catch you guys for next video. Peace out, dudes. Love you guys.